Hang in there, it
that.
is! Smylie Kaufman for 61. Wow.
I'm Smylie Kaufman, and this is The Smylie Show.
It is officially Ryder Cup week, Smylie, and we are very excited here on the Smylie Show, getting ready to pack the bags. You might already have yours adorned with some of the team uniforms, things of that nature. Got to fire all that up and head to Bethpage, but we are fired up this week, Smylie. I cannot wait to get there. I've never been to a Ryder Cup. You said it's one of the best sporting events you've ever been to. Where are your levels at right now? Like, do you have a hot set of tips for anyone who's never been to a Ryder Cup for the first time? What do you do when you get on site? How do you take it all in?
My excitement level is currently a 1, and I think it will be a 10 when I do get on the plane. But things have been a little chaotic here as we're winding down here, having our second child. So you can imagine it's just try to take care of all your business at home. I've been working on the Ryder Cup, just getting all my notes and ready and just getting my mind ready for the Ryder Cup, but I'm not there physically in my head yet as far as just being there on site. I think as soon as I leave for the airport, it's all going to switch, and all the memories and all the excitement is going to be flooding in that vehicle heading to the airport. So just not quite there yet, but advice I can give to somebody like you, Charlie, who've never been to a Ryder Cup. First thing is first, you got to be there bright and early. This isn't there's so many events that you can sleep in. This isn't one of them. You got to be there bright and early. We get to sleep in
Sunday, right? Sunday singles start at noon, so that's like you burn the candle at both ends on Friday, Saturday, and then you get that sleep in. No, you think still?
I mean, just another good opportunity to get up early to go to get some merch. That's the only argument you can make, is that you get there early on Sunday to have some time to go get a little bit extra merch, just in case, that hat you were thinking about, or maybe that belt, that needlepoint belt that just had caught your eye the entire week, and you see one guy pull it off on the course. You're like, gosh, I got to go back.
I'm really going to try to stay disciplined this week. I say
you
that
have
now.
No discipline.
I have no real governor when it comes to merch acquisition. As I say in my Walker Cup T-shirt here, one of like 19 things I bought in that shop on 3 trips back. It's a real problem. We'll see what we find. Maybe we'll do a little bit of a merch haul on the show account. We'll just kind of see what
I like that.
Pick up. A little experiential content. Yeah.
Okay, so definitely want to do that, because I want to. It's like a girl getting ready for a sorority event and showing their entire outfit. Like, we're going to be doing that with all the merch.
Outfit of the day TikTok. Okay, here we go.
Got this for my uncle. He just sent a Venmo, so I got him this shirt. Yeah, you can do a whole lot of that. I got my buddy a cute koozie. Got my other friend a beer chugging hat that says USA on the top. It's plenty of items.
I hope they have something of that nature. Like, I think what you're describing is like the hard hat with the toucan and the straws. Like, they need to have something that leans into the intensity of the Bethpage crowds, while not like encouraging too much crazy behavior. But man, that's the other part of it too, is that it feels like this Ryder Cup is going to feel substantially different from other Ryder Cups in the past, given all the fan environment there, what we saw at the last Ryder Cup. We have a lot of that to dig into, Smylie. Well, also, we need to have like a lower third bug that's like Smylie and Francie's baby watch. Like, that should be going on the screen. Got to count down like a little sand timer until we can get you off the airport. But we need to dig into a ton of stuff on the Ryder Cup front, both in this episode, Smylie, and then we'll have another preview episode later in the week. And then we'll be on site doing our daily journal episodes every single day. So let's kick off this week's coverage thanks to our good friends at Ahead with a Ryder Cup look ahead. Ahead is a strategic partner for enterprise clients, helping them navigate the path toward digital transformation, much like an expert caddy, reading the course ahead and providing the winning combination of technology and execution. You can learn more at ahead.com. And our big thanks to Ahead for presenting part of this week's coverage. So let's dive right into that atmosphere, Smylie. And there's a story on The Guardian written by Ewan Murray, and it kind of headlines with the quote that Rory McIlroy left us with in 2023 in Rome after a particularly charged competition that I think it was Saturday night. We saw him in the parking lot being held back by Bones, upset with Joe LaCava. So his quote, to just refresh you there, is, I think one of the biggest accomplishments in golf is winning an away Ryder Cup. And that is what we're going to do at Bethpage. Mm-hmm. So then Ewan went and sat with Rory in the locker room at Eastlake Golf Club for the Tour Championship and asked him, hey, how are you feeling about this now? And Rory's response was, I am maybe more confident than I was then. Obviously, I said that in the euphoria of winning the Ryder Cup. But I think with everything that has happened since, the way our team is shaping up, Luke agreeing to be the captain again, having the continuity of the team the way it is, the form of the Europeans all of this year, but especially leading into the event, if I compare it to the last 2 away Ryder Cups that I've played, I would say we are in a way better spot. I still believe we're the underdogs, but I feel more confident than I was in 2016 and 2021 that we can pull it off. It's I don't know what else he's meant to say in that situation, but it is. I think he also knows, given what a lot of his other quotes, the way they've kind of disseminated to the public. There's some bulletin board material in there, right? So what do you make of these statements from Rory? Do you agree with him? I think the continuity piece obviously is a big one, but I don't know if I necessarily agree on year-long form. What do you make of this most recent set of quotes published in The Guardian, Smylie?
I definitely agree with you, as in Rory is the leader. He's supposed to be the vocal leader of this team, and he's got more experience than anybody on this team. I mean, Justin Rose would be the only other player that's played as many matches as he has. So he has been on enough teams to know what they're showing up to an away game in. And I think knowing the experience that this team has and how they're not trying to necessarily get any players fresh legs as they come in, meaning they're not trying to babysit any of these kids around here. Everybody's played a Ryder Cup except for one guy. So I think starting that everybody has an expectation what it's like. Now, they haven't had enough guys maybe play away Ryder Cups, but for the most part, Europe has been the only team to go on win on the road since 1995. They've won 3 road games. So USA has not done any. So Europe should have a little bit more confidence in that they have done it. Rory McIlroy, of course, being the vocal leader, he's never not worn his heart on his sleeve and just always seems to say what's on his mind. So it is nice too, Charlie, to hear that he is talking before the Ryder Cup, because I do like the press clippings. I think as media members, we enjoy
for sure.
but the U.S. when at least the U.S. players, the captains, when they see a Rory McIlroy article come out, they immediately will just put that on the wall. They'll send it to the group text, and I'm sure there are a lot of guys who are friendly with them. But for this week, everybody's got to find a way to hate every single person on that team just to try to get internally motivated, even if they have relationships.
Oh, undoubtedly. I mean, and I think that Rory, he kind of set this out. I'm forgetting the timing of this original interview, but just his goals for this year and really just the next few years and the rest of his career were to win the Masters, of course, complete the career Grand Slam, does that earlier this year. And there was a third goal I'm forgetting now, but the second goal is that I'm forgetting now, but the third one was winning away Ryder Cup. And so this is something that I think, and speaking that into existence, he's very clearly defining, hey, we believe we can do this. We think we have the team to do this. He goes on to say in this story, there are a lot of interesting quotes in here. He says, I think it's inevitable something is going to happen in New York. It might not involve me, but it is inevitable that something will happen, whether like in Rome last time or something else. I just think when you go into that environment and you are there for 5 or 6 days and the crowd are on you for 8 hours, so many days in a row, it is inevitable it will get to someone or get to us as a group at some point. We're just going to have to do a really good job of managing that, having each other's backs and protecting each other. I wonder what you think, whether it's stuff you've heard from players or just getting inside the mind of Luke Donald. Like when you're playing a football game, what's the phrase that a coach uses? It's like controlled aggression, or like controlled intensity. What do you think Luke is telling to his guys of, hey, we obviously have to block this out to a certain degree, right? Because we don't want tensions flaring or some sort of altercation. But how much of this do we want to lean into and kind of chirp back at and kind of use that fire to fuel our chances to win an away Ryder Cup?
Well, I think Graham McDowell's episode that we recently just had, if you had a chance to go listen to that, please do, because it really explains what it's like to be a player playing an away game and how it's very odd as a player to hit good shots and not hear the claps that you normally hear or make big putts and barely hear a murmur. So if you can somehow fire up, whether it's the crowd or against you, or just somehow just be able to get your teammates around you to feel like emotion and momentum is on their side, I think that's always a good thing. And this is, it's a true rivalry, which I think is why it's so, just an event that we're so excited about. The Ryder Cup is one event in which these players get to play for their country, and there's definitely some history between a lot of these guys, and there's some players that could definitely be some fireballs, especially on that Europe team. You got Shane Lowry, Robert McIntyre, Rory McIlroy, Justin Rose can get a little feisty from time to time. So there's plenty of players that aren't afraid to punch back from that Europe side, and so there probably will be an issue at some point during this event. We already talked about the New York crowd, and how many rivalries too when you think about it. On the football field, or let's say maybe the basketball court, maybe not as much the basketball court, but I think about football season and how often in rivalry games that you see there already is a little skirmish that happens and breaks out before the game even starts during warm-ups. Can you imagine like on Thursday or Friday before the round that there's like a meeting in the middle of the range where we got like six guys like holding each other back? That is the type of content I would love to like. If we had any type of buildup like that on a Friday where somebody just walks by and crop dusts a guy, and next thing you know, it's like, hey man, did you just rip ass? And like, yeah, I did. You gonna do something about it? And then like that's how we get this thing started. That honestly. How can we find ourselves there?
We need to find the equivalent of what you're describing, which is like pregame stretching, right? And then it's like you got the home team's logos is at the 50-yard line, and the away team goes over and starts stomping on it and digging it. And it's like, what's the equivalent of that in golf? And as you're talking, I'm thinking like maybe they wait until the U.S. team goes out and they get like a hole behind them and hit into them. There's a big confrontation when the ball's down the fairway, or maybe it is the driving range team. We got to find that, because I would love to have a little pre-Ryder Cup skirmish to get us going.
I think the only thing that would upset players as far as just playing with another group in one of these matches, maybe not as much singles, but in the foursomes in the four ball, I could see two things happening. One being an issue with aim point. I could see aim point being a problem with players kind of getting in either players' lines or feeling like they're too close to a player's line, standing up next to the hole and impeding in maybe somebody else's routine. I could see aim point somehow being an issue with just an overall annoyance and this is the perfect setting for somebody to verbally say, hey, do you mind stop doing your 8-point routine while I'm doing my routine? I could see somehow an aim point thing coming out and about in this Ryder Cup. And also if a group is playing slow or they feel like they're being slow played, that you could see maybe an issue of a twosome walking up after they had hit and they're already 40, 50 yards down the fairway while the other people are hitting, and then maybe finding a fence in that could be an issue, or players walking off the green to the next tee, which you're not supposed to do because the crowd kind of gets riled up. These are things I'm thinking about of like, what would make players upset? These are the things that would just annoy players. Some guys are really bad with the aim point and where they're standing. I'm not going to name these players, but I'm already heading into this. I'm already definitely going to be paying close attention to it.
We need a bingo board for like listing all these things you've just given us. Put together a bingo board for those, then maybe throw some players' names on there and try to set odds for who is most likely to be involved in those things. And I also have a few names as well. So, Smylie, one last thing I would like to cover on this topic before we get to your interview with John Wood, who is the team manager for Team USA. There's actually a really cool story out on John right now on golf.com written by Michael Bamberger about his arrival process and all the stuff that goes into his job. So cool that you got to talk to him as well to kind of prep us for the Ryder Cup. But it's actually an excellent segue. I didn't even realize this. We're going to talk about another caddy who is now a broadcaster. And you were involved in this original call on Wednesday. This was the NBC conference call with the entire team there, all your teammates, Dan Hicks, Brad Faxon, Paul McGinley, and then Jim Bones Mackay. And so Bones was, in his sort of introductory statement, said, all I'll say is that I think if it hasn't already been said, I would love if things looked really close as we head into Sunday. If the two captains, Keegan Bradley and Luke Donald, who are close friends, could find 60 seconds for themselves and for the good of the game, maybe find a way to see that Rory and Scottie play each other in singles on Sunday. I think at a close Ryder Cup, that would basically bring the house down in terms of the excitement that everyone sees around the play there on Sunday. And of course, a close competition. So it's interesting, right? Because it's undoubtedly in the era of product, right? Like, hey, I know this is the way we used to do it to suit the competition first and foremost, but now we are really worried about the entertainment value of this thing. It would be the best thing for product, right?
Sure.
The strategic part of it, you could argue about, I blind submitting names. I can kind of, work it out so I'm not going to burn my best guy against their best guy and like kind of tilt it in your team's favor. And also, I think to Bones' point, it has to be a close competition, right? Because if one side's losing, they don't want to leave. Like if the USA's down a couple points, like they're not going to leave Scotty at the end of the order, and his match might not even matter, as we heard from Graham McDowell even in this most recent interview. But I mean, how good? Can you imagine this Ryder Cup coming down to that match? I mean, or a final hole. It would be hard to even right now contextualize where that would stand in golf history, because I don't know that we have anything. I know that there are examples out there, but in modern times, those two guys going at it at this stage, it would be unbelievable. I love this.
I think from a legacy standpoint, for sure, Scottie versus Rory makes a ton of sense, as those have been the best two players in the world. But from a click standpoint and what I want to see from an overall just excitement and what might happen as far as just the quotes that come out of this and the stories would be, I kind of want to see Rory and Bryson play.
Yeah, well, that's another nice segue, because there were more quotes on that topic from Rory in the Guardian stories. We remember back at the Happy Gilmore 2 premiere in July, Bryson was asked about this, about playing against Rory in the Ryder Cup, and he said, "I'll be chirping his ear this time. Now, if we go up against each other, I mean, you can be sure of it. I'll get into his ear a little bit." And when asked about that in the Guardian story, Rory's response was, "I think the only way he gets attention is by mentioning other people. That's basically what I think of that. To get attention, he will mention me or Scotty or others." And it's, I love this back and forth. Like the trash talk is what we feed off of in this world. But I think so. That'll be an interesting one. We'll see kind of how what sort of strategies involved in making those singles lineups, because I do think it has to do a lot with where we stand on Saturday night. But if Rory pulled Scotty or Bryson, that'd be about as good as it gets.
I think so. It would be cool if the captains could get together for just one pick, but it's pretty obvious that I think both guys know that, or at least Luke should know, that Keegan Bradley is going to send out his best first. And so you just have to assume Scotty Scheffler is going to be going first. So he's got an option to either most likely send either Rahm or Rory. I think you would expect to see Rory, but I think Luke will end up just sending out probably of the four guys that are his best players, whoever is having the best week. I could see that person going out. But if you look at Rome as an example, Rahm played every single match till that Saturday afternoon, and Luke had told him going in, it said, "Hey, you're sitting out the afternoon because I want you fresh going off first on Sunday." And I think that's a huge spot to be for any player. It's like, hey, if your captain's going to send you out first, it's so important to get your team's color on the board early. So that assignment is so big, which is why I don't see Scotty playing 5 matches this week, knowing that most likely he will be the first guy to go out for Keegan on Sunday. But from an entertainment aspect, I would like to see the captains be able to play a little chess match because it's random. You just wonder about, all right, how much is there as far as like how much weight do we put on this as far as the importance of captaincy? If these guys can't actually plan out who these guys are going to play, there's no strategic moves besides it's a little bit of luck. You just need your guys to play good and hope hope your best guy isn't playing their best guy. And I don't know. Right. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Graham had great thoughts on that and that in your conversation with him of just like, why are we, there have definitely been some captaincy failings in recent years, but the level at which I think we react to those and assign blame to the captain for those is like, well, they're not hitting the golf shots, right? They're definitely part of bringing the team together and strategizing, but like that's really the biggest factor in this whole thing. So I will say though, just in terms of the lineup thing, kind of like you're saying, making it more strategic, increasing the value of the captaincy and the decision making there. That's one thing I'd love to see them borrow from the President's Cup. If we're starting this with talking about product, what's the most blockbuster match we want to see? That's just free content. Like, why can we not just sit down and do a draft? I mean, you could do it on Thursday night, right? The same way they're announcing their first pairings, but kind of draft it back and forth. And then you could do it again on Saturday night for the full singles lineup, and the rest would kind of go out during the day. But I mean, I think that would be phenomenal content to have, Luke and Keegan and there's unveiling who's going to go against who. And if one of those matches is Scotty or Bryson against Rory, I think we'll all be very happy. When it comes to Sunday in Bethpage. I'm just ready to get the week going. We gotta get going. We need to see these guys on the golf course. I saw that Bryson, it seemed like he was maybe one of the few guys on site at Bethpage. It looked like he was doing some work out there, getting ready. Meanwhile, I saw that the Europe team, they were actually out and about playing at Friar's Head. That's so good.
I mean, I doubt they're going out and playing shinny, but Friar seems like a pretty good place to go and kind of get ready. I saw that, let's see, I think it was Shane, Rasmus, Rory, Hatton, and Rom playing a little wolf game.
That's so good. I think that actually speaks to where they're at mentally. It's like, hey, we can play fall golf in Long Island or in New York area. We're going to go ahead and do that while we're here. Even if it means we're not spending those hours optimizing strategy and picking our lines off the tee at Bethpage. So I love that for them. And I think they do feel, it seems to me, more comfortable than any other away team entering a Ryder Cup. And they have a reason to. It's basically the same team. So that's what we got for today's Ryder Cup breakdown, Smylie. Although I shouldn't say that necessarily. What we're going to do is go to an interview, and then we're going to come back on the back end and break down some odds making that's out there. We've got some interesting storylines there. But first, we have your conversation with John Wood that is brought to us again by our friends at Ahead, a trust-based relationship. Ahead builds and manages digital platforms that power the most successful organizations in the world. Their consultative approach, unmatched engineering, and innovative solutions combine to accelerate the impact of technology in every client they serve. Ahead's longstanding relationships are built on outcomes and experience with both their clients and technology partners. You can learn more at ahead.com. And please enjoy now Smylie's conversation with Team USA manager John Wood.
All right, guys, welcome back. We got an incredible guest today here, an NBC colleague of mine, John Wood, joining us here today to talk about the Ryder Cup. John, you've been a part of, 8 Ryder Cups, I believe, 6 as a caddy, 2 with the NBC team. I mean, when you talk about the Ryder Cup, John, it's like you start glowing. It's an event that, of course, once you're a part of, I imagine being in those team rooms, just you don't ever want to miss it. So now being a team manager for Team USA, that's got to be something you're super proud of.
I'm thrilled and I'm proud and surprised and check all the boxes. It is by far my favorite event to work in any capacity. It's just the excitement is beyond belief. And, you growing up playing team sports, you don't get a chance to do that very often. And if you're lucky enough to make a few of these teams, which I have been very lucky and my players have made a few, you're exactly right. You don't want to miss out on it because you know how fun those team rooms are. How much you get to know the guys on a much deeper level. And honestly, you learn a lot about doing your job because you see 12 of the best players, 12 of the best caddies doing what they do. And if you pay attention, you can pick up some great tips on how to get better at your job.
Well, Woody, you've been a part of so many different Ryder Cups, away, home, different locker rooms, different players throughout the years with plenty of different captains and vice captains. I want to get your opinion on how it's evolved over the years from stats to how these captains are pairing guys up and just the overall just connection of the groups. I imagine from that first one to where you are now with Keegan's captaincy with this Ryder Cup team, it's probably changed a lot. So from your perspective, from that first one you've been a part of, how has it evolved over the years?
No question. Like anything, any sport these days, so much of it now is analytics, and you just do deeper dives into who to pair together, where to put them, what formats to play. My first one was 02 with Curtis Strange as the captain. And this wasn't, out of the ordinary at all at the time, but it was much more by feel. Who do you want to play with? Who's your buddy? You guys play the same golf call. Back then it was the same, it was a 1 ball rule, so you kind of had to take that into factor. But it was much more, who do you play your practice rounds with? Who do you want to play with? Not necessarily taking a look at, do your games fit together? Are your strengths good for this golf course? And even going down to when you're playing foursomes, alternate shot, what tee shots do you like? Oh, I like these ones. I like this par 3. Now it's boiling down to, okay, if I hit off the odds, I'm going to be putting more. I'm the better putter of our two, so that's the way you do it. Not to mention that the statistics that go into it, the analytics in terms of captain's picks, what golf style fits this golf course. There's a lot more picking for teammates, for putting partnerships together rather than I think this guy might be playing the best, but where he's been playing good isn't anything like Bethpage Black. So it's sometimes you look at those things, and I think guys like late in the year when like Sam Burns and Cameron Young started playing well. Their games fit Bethpage to a T. So I think it really lifted Keegan's not spirits, but really made some decisions very clear for him.
Sure. Well, here's another question I got for you, John, is with all of these team rooms you've been a part of, and maybe just some losing teams that you look back and you think maybe you question the pairings or maybe even question the picks, but leaving those rooms and sometimes talking with the players and caddies, did it ever feel like to you that the players were frustrated with either the communication aspect of, gosh, I can't believe I wasn't told I was going to be playing with this guy, or, I would have loved to have been on this hole. Was there a sense of that, or was that happening for years with other captains, just the communication aspect? You kind of briefly talked about it, but was that something that was happening year after year with, especially when you look at the results? I mean, it's not like the U.S. has been very dominant in this.
Yeah, it wasn't. I wouldn't say it was commonplace, but it definitely happened. I think sometimes there was one example I can give you where we didn't. In 14, Hunter and Jim Furyk played four ball together in the morning. Both of them played fantastic golf. I think we won 4 and 3. And then, we were told we were going right back out in the afternoon, same pairing. Fine. Love Jim Furyk, one of the best team players you could possibly have, but we hadn't hit his golf ball once all week long because that was never going to be a pairing for foursome. So I spent, you get 45 minutes to maybe an hour if you're lucky. So I spent the first 10 minutes talking to the Callaway guys, trying to get what does this golf ball do? And then, trying to set up a little practice area for Hunter just to hit some wedges. Really, we weren't really concerned about, long irons, but let's get this thing down for wedges. And it was just a quick turnaround in trying to figure that out. And you're a player, you know what you want. And what I tried to do as a caddy was to, whatever the round was, no surprises. I want a plan for everything. You want to know what the plan is for everything. So when we get out there on the 13th hole, I'm not springing something on you that we haven't talked about, and same thing for those. It's the first captain to really use that pod system was Azinger in 08. And it was so nice to get there. And we had a big meeting on Monday, and he basically said, Hunter, you're going to play with Phil, Anthony, him, or Justin. That's it. And that foursome played all their practice rounds together. They ate dinner together. So it was easy to prepare because that's the only possibility. You didn't have to get to know 12 guys' games and 12 guys' balls. It was just 3 guys. And we've pretty much stuck to that since then, and it's been much more successful, I think.
Well, it seems like Zinger was the one to kind of turn the corner for this U.S. team. So often before that, it felt like it was like decisions made by captains that were just based off of feel, and just the communication maybe wasn't quite there. So you've had a chance as the team manager for Team USA to observe Keegan throughout the last year and a half, from all the decisions he makes about the golf course, the hotel, the team room, to the captain's picks. What has impressed you the most about Keegan throughout this whole process?
Is everything a bad answer? No, it's truly, I have been amazed at how prepared he is, how decisive he is. It's not like this was a captaincy he was expecting. This is, I think he was as surprised as anybody when he was asked. And but everything that we've gone through, every decision from PGA of America to players to caddies to anybody who had any sort of a question, how do you want this done for your team? He knew immediately. He was decisive. There was no going back and forth. There was no guessing. He had a clear vision for how he wanted this team to look from day one, and he's never changed from that. It's been very easy to work for a guy like that, because it's what he wants. And I think that instills confidence that your leader really knows exactly what he wants. He's been, I think, probably the most communicative of all the captains I've seen with the potential players throughout the year and a half. And they've all said that to a T. They loved what Keegan's done for them. And it's just been, like I said, they know most of the players are getting their Sunday. They know from Sunday to the following Sunday night exactly what they're doing and exactly what they're going to be. It's all there. It's all done. And he's been every decision he's made has been player centric. Yeah. How does this affect my players? And how does this put my players in the best position to get 14.5 points in those 3 days? And it's just been, he's been incredible on every aspect.
Well, the players have so much respect for Keegan Bradley. They watch how hard he works week in and week out. He's so dedicated to his craft. So it's not really surprising, I think, from any player or any caddy or any of us over at NBC to see that Keegan has risen to the occasion for his dedication to this captaincy and how important it means to him. I think a lot of people aren't really aware of just his they're aware that he's from the Northeast, but the St. John's connection is going to, that hits way close to home. This is a golf course, Bethpage Black, that Keegan Bradley is super familiar with. They used to play there on Mondays and Tuesdays, sneak out, go over by park their cars by that shed over there behind 2 Green and play the loop back to where they get to their cars and head home. This has got to be just like a dream come true for the guy. And I think you and I have had, how many conversations did we have over the last couple of months, sitting on the couch in our compound wondering, all right, Woody, is Keegan playing this time? Like, is he playing? How many times do we talk about whether Keegan Bradley is going to play or not?
Every week. Every week we talked about it, depending on who else had played well, the possible picks. How did he play? And I think I think everybody kind of went back and forth for a while. It's just to think, to decide what we thought he was going to do. Mm-hmm. Honestly, if you'd asked me a month ago, I probably would have said, yes, I think he's going to play. But I think the fact that exactly what we talked about, Cameron Young, Sam Burns, Cantlay, and Ben Griffin has been playing great every single week all year long. I think that made his decision a lot easier. That I think had he been playing let's say Keegan was playing better than everybody in the world besides Scotty Scheffler. If he was playing great golf every single week and he was playing much better than the possible picks, I think he would have played. But when those guys stepped up, it's such a big job, the captaincy. It is such a big job. And I can't imagine being out there playing in a match and being able to focus on it 100%, because you're also thinking, part of your brain would have to be thinking about the next pairing the next day. Oh, that match isn't going well. I had a gut feeling I shouldn't have put them out there. Or, boy, it's working out exactly like we planned. I just think it'd be hard to do both, really. So I think the fact that those guys stepped up towards the end of the year, it's a big sacrifice. Keegan loves the Ryder Cup. He wanted to play. There's no question about that. Sure. He is. But, he is doing exactly what he thinks is best for the team, not best for Keegan Bradley. And he thinks it's best. And I do. I think ultimately I agree with him that he's the full captain that week, 100% in on that, and only has to concentrate on that.
We had Graham McDowell on yesterday, Woody, and we were talking to him about just the preparation that Team Europe is currently going through. Obviously, they play at the BMW opposite of when Napa was going on, and they flew over to Bethpage to get a peek at this golf course for a couple of days, a little site visit. It doesn't appear that the U.S. is going to be doing a site visit, but from your perspective of what you saw from Keegan going to the golf course and setting up the place to, I guess, try to have some form of advantage in course setup. What did Team Europe do? What do you think they found this week going to check out this golf course? Is there anything to tell about Bethpage Black besides, hey, hit it good and you're going to have to make some birdies?
I don't think so. Keegan didn't tweak with the course a whole lot. We've been there 2 or 3 times since the Open champion, or since he was named captain. We went right away, went around, just looking at the golf course, deciding what he wanted. But he didn't do a whole lot different to it, to be honest with you. Maybe a little bit wider fairways and a little bit lighter rough, but it's Bethpage Black. What do you need to do with it? I mean, it's such a great golf course. A couple things that, like the first hole that the tee is up and to the left just because of the grandstands, things like that. But I think, most of these guys have played Bethpage quite a few times on both teams because we've been there for playoffs, for PGA, for U.S. Open, that it's not an unfamiliar turf as a lot of times these team events are. So I don't think they're going to find anything surprising, to be honest with you. It's Bethpage Black, and I think Keegan loves it. He's played there a ton, and I think I think it was important to him to maintain the integrity of the golf course. Yeah. And he did exactly that.
Well, I can't wait to get up there. And before we let you go, I want to ask you a little bit about how Napa went this past week at the Procore Championship. Shocker, Scotty Scheffler won again. Were you with Scotty on Sunday?
I was with him on Sunday, yeah.
Well, just tell us a little about what you saw from Scotty on Sunday. I imagine it was a lot of the same, Just
yeah. It's like a broken record. It never ceases to amaze you. He didn't play as great as he could. He didn't make a whole lot of putts in the time I saw him in those couple days. But he just doesn't make mistakes. He just doesn't ever put himself in a position where you think he could make double here. I mean, no, he did make a double, but it's so consistent. He's never in trouble. The thing that impresses me most about Scotty, we all know how good he is in distance control from the fairway, but he gets these lies in the rough that I'm looking at going, I don't know how this is going to come out. And he gets it right every single time. He lands it in the right spot. It releases the right amount. And obviously he hits it great, but that's a skill in being able to read those lies and figure out exactly how they're going to come out. And he does it every single time. So he is fun to watch play golf. I know that's probably the dumbest thing you could possibly say, but
it sure is, man.
It's just you're in awe of the guy.
Well, he's going to definitely have to be a force for this U.S. team this week. Going to need every bit of his good play to help the U.S. win. But as the team manager, are you on creatine management load for for Ben Griffin on the week? Like, who's assigned to Ben to make sure that he doesn't take too much creatine heading to the first tee?
I put together a couple menus for coffee orders and for smoothie orders, and one of the smoothie options was creatine, and I put no Ben Griffin.
I mean, unbelievable. You said it. This guy's been playing unreal. I think he's played into a position now to where he could be, you're trying to find who's going to be the best players outside of Scotty Scheffler. I think Ben Griffin has an opportunity to play his way into playing 4 matches, to where I think if we looked into this team 2 or 3 months ago, you would have said, okay, if Ben makes the team, he's probably just playing 4 balls and just playing singles. But he's playing too good, Woody. I know he plays a different golf ball, but that would be my biggest question coming into this Ryder Cup is, can Ben Griffin gel with a partner? Can he find somebody that he can gel with? Because clearly he is playing as good as anybody in the world right now.
Yeah, I spent some time around Ben last week, and his confidence is so high right now. There
always is, right? As
you can imagine, going into a first Ryder Cup, you're ready to run through a wall. It is so exciting, and I completely agree with you. I think Keegan and the vice captains have worked out a rough plan of how they like the week to go and how the pairings. But those can always change. Somebody can show up and just be playing unbelievable golf, and all of a sudden you're like, we got to get this guy out there as much as possible. And the golf ball is interesting, but it's not as important as it used to be now that it's not a 1-ball rule, because typically you're hitting your own ball into the greens every time.
Gotcha.
So if you and I are playing and I play 1 ball, you play the other, either way, we're both going to be playing from the left tree, so it doesn't matter about that.
When did that switch? The non-1?
Gosh, I want to say around 06, maybe 04, 06.
So you had to pick. You chose 1 golf ball and you played it the whole way around.
Whole way around.
We're now, if you play a Callaway, for instance, I would hit it off the tee so that you would be able to most importantly, be able to hit it pin high and know how far your numbers are. Like off the tee, it's like you could figure it out. It's just like spin levels and launch is probably what changes.
Exactly. And we when I was caddying for Cooch, we played a couple team events with Dustin Johnson, and we ended up playing his ball the whole way because Cooch is easy going. He can figure it out. And Dustin said that at one point, I drive it pretty good with my golf ball. And Cooch says, yeah, I think you probably do. So let's just do that.
Hey, were you for the most part just everybody going to Napa? And everybody playing, of course, Bryson, I think, made an appearance. And how important was that? I know Xander didn't go. Of course, he just had a baby. But how important do you think that was, just getting everybody together? I'm not sure if there was many signings they had to do this past week in Napa just to knock some things out. But from your perspective, how important was everybody playing in Napa just to keep that rust off?
I think it was extremely important for so many reasons. One, to keep the rust off, because you can sit at home like in Rome. There was 5 weeks off, and a lot of guys took 5 weeks off. You would never go into a major taking 5 weeks off and thinking you'd be ready. And I think a lot of guys looking back, they weren't quite ready Friday morning, and it showed. The competition wasn't there. So even though maybe you'd look at Napa and say Silverado's nothing like Bethpage, it doesn't matter. It's just hitting shots under pressure and seeing where your game is at. I don't think it was important necessarily to be there and show great form and play good golf, but just to be able to hit shots under pressure to see where your game is. So you've got this week to go home and work on those facets that you weren't happy with. And not only that, but I think, they played every practice round together. They were paired together for the first 2 days. We had, a great dinner Tuesday night with everybody. Keegan, kind of gave a little talk to everybody and everybody getting together and just hanging out and, not trying to make it like everybody's best buddies, because it's just like, this is our team. And it felt so nice to be together before we get there. Just because, it just you care about these guys more.
Sure.
You just, and that, when you care about a team and you care about guys, I think it makes you play a little better. It gets you a little bit more excited. And, you don't want to let your other guys down.
Totally. I'm so excited for the Ryder Cup and looking forward to seeing you out there, Woody. And for the most part, you're always on the ground with me. So if you get the nervous itch of like, gosh, I gotta call a hole, I gotta call 36 a day. And you just want to take my pack for a couple holes and let me just kind of ride the golf cart and be team manager for a minute. Hey, I'll do the little switcheroo. We just got to talk to T. Roy.
Done deal. We'll talk to T. Roy. We'll talk to Keegan to get you some uniform and figure out when we can switch out or there.
Perfect, buddy. All right, look forward to seeing you up there, Bethpage, man. When are you getting up there? Saturday?
I'm actually taking the red eye tonight, buddy.
Guy, you're already ready to go, buddy. Golly. Good
the players
for you,
getting
man.
there Sunday. I just want 3 full days to get everything exactly like they'll want it. So when they get there, it's everything they need to know is in their locker, and they just go play golf.
All right, buddy. Well, safe travels to you. Look forward to seeing you, and happy Ryder Cup week to you.
You too, Smylie. Can't wait to see you, buddy.
See you.
Our thanks to Team USA manager John Wood for joining the show to kind of break down a little bit of the prep that goes into the Ryder Cup process. And yeah, that cool story as well that Michael Bamberger wrote just about all the minute details and the way you kind of want to envision the locker room looking. All that stuff is we'll see what pays off this week. So,
oh man, thanks for coming on, Woody. He works his tail off at everything he does. So I know with this role, he doesn't take it lightly, and all the organization aspect of taking things off the captain's plate. You couldn't have found a better guy than John Wood to do that. So I know he's been looking forward to this week for quite some time. And actually, I'd forgotten that he had given the NBC team this ball marker. I got it upstairs.
Oh, nice.
It's like a custom ball marker. It says like warning with the Bethpage.
Oh, it's got the sign.
Deal. Yeah, it says like warning, and it has like everybody's initials below it. It's pretty cool.
That's so great. It's they moved the sign. They took
I
it off
know,
the fence.
but it's not like it doesn't matter because the tee box is where you normally tee off right there. That's all bleachers. So
well, you be taking a picture of the sign in front of like a big red bleacher. So I think they put other signs out in the course that are bigger. You can take pictures in front of, and the real one's going, I think, to somewhere in Manhattan for like one of the parties there that week. So there'll still be photo ops out there, just not the sign of the site of the.
There's going to be
sign.
Probably a lot of parties in Manhattan this week.
I know, right?
My goodness. We're going to have to keep Charlie at bay.
No, we're on, this is a business trip, Smylie. Well, I don't. There's no real way to segue out of that, but we're gonna get to
good shotgun a beer. That would,
I was gonna say. We're just drinking a lot of coffee today, a lot of coffee and electrolytes. What we have right now, Smylie, is another friend of ours, partner of ours, DraftKings, who we've used their lines at multiple majors this year to kind of kickstart the conversation around specific points of the competition, and they're back this week with us. So let's fire up the DraftKings Sportsbook here, Smylie, and here's another interesting wrinkle involved in this DraftKings partnership is that. We were just coming off the Hope Valley member guest, and I don't know if you can see this, but I hit it close to the pin.
Yeah, you sent it to us.
Yeah, closest to the pin on Thursday. They're in the practice
round. 2 G's in free play.
2 G's in draft. So this is not DraftKings does not endorse this in any way, shape, or form. But I just big thanks to the good people at DraftKings for setting that up, and to my 8-iron for hitting it to 4 feet.
Congrats, man.
Thank you. And here's my working idea that I kind of workshop with some people in and around the Ross Grill this week, which is what if we just looked at a bunch of these lines on here and constructed an insane parlay and just let all $2,000 ride on it? Like, is that a good show play? Like, do we want to workshop something like that?
Gosh, I'm trying to even. Well, I mean, what kind of parlay? Let's talk about it.
Well, here's what I think we do, right? Because this is our first episode of the week. We're going to do another episode. So I think we kind of go through some of this stuff, kind of talk through some of these storylines. And by the way, we are not providing betting advice. We're not allowed to do that. And you definitely, if we put together this parlay, should not follow our betting advice. But I think we talk through some of these things. Maybe we let it ruminate for a day or so. And then if we are indeed going to do this, we put it into action on our second show this week. So with that said, Smylie, there are a couple of different odds that are being offered on various things. So to outright win the Ryder Cup, I thought it was interesting because they have the odds listed to win the Ryder Cup, but also to lift the trophy. So essentially what they're saying is USA is minus 145 to win and to lift the trophy, whereas Europe is plus 150 to win, but only plus 115 to lift the trophy, because all that means is they'd have to have 14-14 and they'd retain it because they are the holders.
Sounds like a soccer bet. This, anytime you've ever bet on the World Cup and you start to figure out, oh wait, a draw is an option. Wait, okay, hold on. I'd never get to bet on a tie, but it kind of seems kind of cool.
Well, and it's plus 11,000 this week for the to tie, for these two teams to tie, and of course that would mean Europe would lift the trophy. We
plus 11,000,
plus
11,100.
Or 1,100, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I was like, "Whoa, that's pretty good odds." I would advise that with how closely contested this Ryder Cup looks to be.
Yeah, we're established as a bad math pod. I'm learning right now. We're a bad reading pod today as well. And then we talked a little bit about the two formats, foursomes and fourball, and as assumed, the United States is well. It's actually interesting. The United States is plus 115 to win foursomes, and Europe's plus 135. But that is the one sort of format in which they're it's like positive odds, where they're negative. They're minus 105 for the fourball. Europe's plus 165. So essentially, what's illustrating is that they believe Europe, as we believe as well, will play better in foursomes, and the Americans will play better in fourball. Couple other interesting ones out here. Biggest winning margin. Think back to 2023 in the old 9-7 Ludwig Oberg and Victor Hovland put on Scotty Scheffler and Brooks Koepka. So the biggest winning margin for 4 holes plus 155, 5 plus 170, 6 holes plus 450, 3 holes plus 1,300, 7 holes. If you'd have nailed that in Rome, plus 30,000. Well, I can't read it. No, plus 3,000. Holy smokes. We're having a reading meltdown right now. Plus 3,000, 8 plus holes plus 3,500. So if you feel like we're going to see another lopsided match this week, there's kind of something you can sample on. And then this is probably my favorite line they offer right now is the winner without Scheffler matches, where the USA is minus 105 and Europe's plus 110, which I was having trouble understanding at first, but I think it's literally, let's say Scotty plays 5 sessions. You're effectively saying what happened in the other with the other 23 points. You're just taking those matches out of play. What
was that line?
It's USA's minus 105 and Europe is plus 110. So, I'm not sure which way to go on that. Okay, so here's where I want to get into just some of your analysis here and thoughts on who's going to play well in this thing. So top point scorer odds. I'm going to go through every player on both sides and then just get your thoughts on who you think is going to win the most points this week at Bethpage. So Scotty's shortest odds plus 300.
Well, I think when you look, before you give me all the odds, I think you have to start with is who do you know is going to play 4 matches? You have to start there.
Right.
Because it'd be silly to ever pick a player. Oh, well, this person has really good upside, but if he's only playing 3 matches, that
100%,
it's a non-starter.
Well, if you look at the end of that list, you got Rasmus Højgaard plus 9,000, Sepp Straka plus 8,000, Shane 6,500, Justin Rose 6,000, Harris English plus 4,000, JJ
Justin
plus 4,000.
Rose is what?
Justin Rose is plus 6,000.
Oof.
But did he play? I only think he played 3 sessions at Rome.
He did. He only played 3 sessions, but it's maybe he's not going to play for it just because of I don't know why I'm saying like his age. It's not like he's not that old. He's old enough to play 4 matches. So with his experience, man, if he plays 4 matches, that's not a bad one way down the board there.
Well, that's because I was thinking like the form guys right now. If you go a little bit up that list, Robert McIntyre plus 4,000, who I believe also played 3 sessions.
Love.
I think he's going to have a big week because we even saw some of that stuff in the playoffs where fans were getting on him and chanting USA and heckling him, and he was giving it right back. He feels very equipped to handle this crowd
for sure. I would say that Bobby Mack is definitely the best in the middle bunch. I think of a player that could have a really good Ryder Cup for sure because he's got the length. He hits his irons very far. He's been in a Ryder Cup before. He's never lost a Ryder Cup match actually. So you got that little tidbit. He's 2-0-1. I think a lot of people think that he only played 3 matches, but you assume he lost one. He didn't lose a match.
Yeah. I mean, I just think looking at other form guys, I mean, I guess JJ Spawn, you could say at plus 4,000, but as a rookie, does he get to play, more than 3 sessions? 4 sessions could be a nice one. You keep going up the list. Sam Burns plus 3,500, Ben Griffin plus 3,000, Colin Morikawa plus 3,000, JT plus 2,800, Victor Hovland plus 2,800, Cameron Young plus 2,200.
So these are all grouped together.
This is every player that's participating and what their odds are to win the most points this week.
What's Victor?
Victor is plus 2,800, and he's kind of middle of the pack. Cam Young,
wow.
I know.
That's a very enticing one to me. I think
I agree with that.
When I think about Bethpage too, so you got to think about who's going to play 4 matches, and then you go to the golf course. What type of game suits this place? It's like, okay, somebody that could hit it pretty far off the tee. Well, it doesn't necessarily fit Victor's game, but there's some room, there's some space to where I then go, okay, who's one of the best iron players? And so Victor Hovland immediately top of the list. Like, he's one of the best iron players this year. So he already goes very high to me in that category. Then you throw in, all right, how many matches is he going? All right, I think Victor's going to play 4. Feel pretty dang good about that too. So he would be a player that really would interest me a lot.
Yeah, I think if you go a few up, like Tyrrell Hatton plus 2,200, one of the best players at Rome as well. That's a guy that intrigues me.
Hatton's good. I think about the golf course though. Don't love Hatton. I would put Victor over Hatton this week. I like his iron game more.
Russell Henley, as we continue to go up the list, plus 2,000. Ludwig Oberg, plus 1,900. Patrick Cantlay, plus 1,600. Xander Schauffele, plus 1,400. And then you start getting underneath 1,000. Tommy Fleetwood, plus 950. That's another guy. That was pretty good.
I think Tommy's probably most likely the best play. He's been just unbelievable in Ryder Cups. He's definitely the player that's been playing the best of the Europeans, and he's got the best record of any Ryder Cup player relative to just maybe not the amount of times they've played, but just overall percentage wise. Tommy Fleetwood, it's like bar none. He is the best player by record percentage wise. Is definitely Tommy.
Yeah, I mean, like tee accuracy, obviously has enough length, great iron player, and incredible form right now. I mean, that's about as good as you're going to get, I feel like. And then to continue going up, John Rahm 9-1, Bryson DeChambeau plus 850, Rory 6-1, and Scotty 3-1. So that kind of rounds out your list.
3, like as in 1,
plus
2,
300,
3
plus 3 to 1.
Oh gosh, well, you can't take that. You can't take that. I mean, you can't. You definitely could take that.
I'm gonna add the disclaimer here. We're not telling you to do or not do anything, but it doesn't feel like a good return on investment for what you're gonna have to put down, even if he does indeed go on to win. And also, too, like we talked about this before, I think we will see a 5-session player. I think inevitably someone's going to play 5 sessions. So, to your point, if Scotty sits Saturday afternoon, that's a statistical disadvantage to whoever's getting that extra session.
Yeah.
So,
I could see Rasmus only playing 2 sessions. I could see Fitzy potentially only playing 2 sessions. I know his form has not been that way, but his Ryder Cup record is the worst of anybody playing this event. I could see from the U.S. side, if Russell Henley were to play poorly in the foursome session with Scotty Friday morning, I could see him sitting. Although Russell was a player who's rock solid, hits it really straight, but he doesn't hit it long. Bethpage is a big ballpark. I could see that in the 4-ball pairings that necessarily, like, you got to go make some birdies, right, to win matches. I don't know if Russell is going to be going out in the 4 balls. So he would be one just from his length, and just if he somehow didn't play good that Friday morning, I could see him playing only 3 matches or a little bit less than that. Other than that, on the U.S. side, I think they're gonna spread the wealth a little bit as far as the matches go. I don't think anybody plays 5. I don't.
It's interesting. I mean, I think the point you're making on Scotty makes a ton of sense. I think all of it has to be score dependent, right? Like if Americans are getting beat up early on and it's coming down the stretch, it's like, man, I love to sit Scotty. I do still want to send him out first in singles tomorrow, but we need a point this afternoon. Otherwise, it's not going to matter who we send out in singles. And so,
especially knowing on singles that you expect Scotty to go off first.
Yeah.
And if you're sending him off first and he had played 36 holes, 2 straight days in every single session, he's going to be wore out.
Oh, yeah.
And having to go up against Europe's best, and let's say they're fresh going into that match. Scotty's obviously plenty good enough to be able to play with his B stuff and win a match, but against a Rahm, Rory, or a Victor or Ludwig, who let's say are fresh and they play well, he could easily lose that match.
Yeah, no, I think it's all. It's going to be interesting to see how this thing goes and changes, and even just format based, like opening up with foursomes where you're trying to kind of get the crowd going. If the Europeans come out and play like they do with that format and take control, and they're up 3-1 going into the afternoon, you're already kind of starting saying, all right, how does the strategy change here? What am I doing differently lineup wise? And am I going to have to kind of scramble a little bit at the end here? But I think if it goes the way that maybe they hope they'd like to script it out, that would make a ton of sense of just saving a guy like that in the afternoon. We'll see. I did think that Russell Henley, his placement on that list interested me, above Tyrrell Hatton, above Victor Hovland, a lot of guys that he could, by virtue of partnering with Scotty, very easily just collect a ton of points because it's nice to play, with Scotty Scheffler in any format. But he's also on this list of, I was curious to get your thoughts on this as well, as top debutantes, where he's the shortest odds to win the most points as a Ryder Cup debutant at plus 210. Cameron Young's next at plus 260. Ben Griffin at plus 350, JJ Spawn at plus 450, and then Rasmus Højgaard at plus 650. Do you agree there on him being the most likely? Because I kind of like Cam Young a little better there.
Well, the reason why I say that Russell could sit is I think that if he were to play poorly and had to sit, I think he would be a player that would potentially not play 4 balls because of his length and maybe not having the firepower to put up enough birdies. He's rock solid in that 4 ball. He hits it dead straight, but I don't think the accuracy is going to tee accuracy is going to be a reason why you are put in the lineup versus another guy. I felt comfortable on this golf course, Charlie, off the tee. If that gives you any sense of imagination of what to expect this week as far as length goes. Like Xander Schauffele, who's been a little bit inaccurate this year off of the tee, he's going to show up and be like, thank goodness, like I can just send it. I can go find the golf ball, hit it again. So players like him that have length, they're just at such a tremendous advantage of this golf course to have shorter clubs than Bryson. He's a player that could play 5 times because of the golf course fit. Ben Griffin could play a bunch, which is why I don't love Russell this week, besides the fact that he's going to hit fairways and give Scotty a ball that's in the fairway with an iron, which is what you just need somebody to give Scotty Scheffler an iron in the fairway.
Yeah. And then if you can't get it down to 2 from there, that's you're not going to be playing too many sessions.
But the other debutantes. So was that just a U.S. list? Can you give it to me one more time?
No, because the European only has one other.
Oh, it's just Rasmus,
right?
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just 4 U.S. debutantes: Henley, Young, Griffin, Spawn, and then Højgaard, Rasmus of the Rasmus.
I like Cam Young the best. Yeah, that would make a lot of sense because of. It's much more of a course fit. I think when you look at this, you look at the course and could this player play really well at this place? And he's proven that he has. He's won at this golf course, and he's played really well over the last couple of months.
Yeah, I'm just so curious to see who JJ ends up playing with. Like I just think depending on what that pairing is.
Yeah, who was he paired with in Napa? I'm trying to remember.
I want to say he was in the group with Scotty. I'd have to go back and look at one of our rundowns. I had them all in there. I'm forgetting now exactly. Let's see here. Let me pull this up. I can't do it. He played with Scotty and Russell Henley. What is interesting to me that if really and truly they had full control over what these pairings were, I would expect to see Scotty, Russell, and Spawn. You think JJ's playing with Bryson? What do you mean?
Is that what that tells you?
Oh, because he's odd man out there. But why would they put him there instead of Sam Burns if like that was supposed to be Scotty's potential partners group? Like, do you think Scotty could play with JJ?
No, I think Scotty will play with Russell. I think.
I'm just wondering what sort of lineup variance they get. I mean, because Scotty does have two potential partners, obviously, on that team, Russell and Sam. I was just curious seeing him there. He could definitely play with Bryson, but we also think Cam Young could play with Bryson.
Well,
I think it depends on format as well.
Let's say Russell plays poorly on Friday morning, and they are like, all right, JJ fits that same mold. Let's throw JJ with Scotty Saturday morning.
That's kind of, I mean, again, I don't know how much to read into a pairing at a Procore, but he played with them for a couple days, so I don't know. Something to keep tabs on. A lot of good food for thought there, Smylie, and my wheels are spinning on this giant parlay. So let's think on this, and let's figure out the extent to which I want to delve into my close to the pin winnings on DraftKings Sportsbook. But you out there, you listeners and viewers, you can take your swing at winning some dough this week by downloading the DraftKings Sportsbook app and using the code Smylie Show. That's code SMYLIESHOW for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. And here we go. It's disclaimer time, baby. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. Fees may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive reward. Minimum minus 500 odds required. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. And for additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. That one felt good.
I like the energy. You definitely had a nice enunciation with a lot of it. A little bit of, very poignant in the way you spoke. I loved it.
You got to give it a little bit of, you got to kind of change tones. And I tell you what, Smylie, there are a couple things that
good balance. Good balance.
You just know it's a major week when you're, kind of writing out the disclaimer script and making sure you hit maybe practicing it a few times in the mirror. You're like, oh, here we go. We're at a big event.
It's good, man. It's good. I liked it. Good job.
Well, thank you, Smylie. Thanks to our friends at DraftKings, and excited to kind of do a little bit more in the way of looking at how these lines move and other sort of options on just informing our conversations around not the Walker Cup, that's done, on the Ryder Cup this week. So we'll do more of that on our second episode this week. And that's it, really, Smylie. What are the thoughts you have to send the people out before we really do this, the real meat and potatoes preview? Here's your preview. Here's your tease on this episode. Smiley's got a book full of notes I'm excited to dig into on the second episode this week. We have a visual on the Smylie Show. No, but look at wow.
We got plenty of notes.
Look at this. It's like a giant yardage book, and we're going to dig into that next week. So that's what I got for you.
Can't wait. See you.
I listen to this podcast. It's really cool. And
all of our lovely fans and subscribers, but make sure you like and subscribe.
It's cool to see what you guys are doing. I know golf fans appreciate it, but we do too. So please keep it up.
For all the good people at YouTube, like and subscribe.
You guys have some good takes, so I'm happy to come on and shoot the